Hey everyone. Today we're going to try to tap into some of our existing knowledge, right? Some things that we already understand, and we're going to for ways to how we can apply them to large language models like ChatGTP, Google Gemini, to try to understand a little bit more about how they work and how we can apply those principles and those understandings to LangFlow. So on the screen here is a spout of oil. So we're going to come back to this, but I just wanted to showcase this at first, right? So in today's video, I kind of want to recap. Let's look again one more time, just as a refresher of what LM Studio is, and then we'll talk more about oil and how that translates to what LangFlow is. So again, remember, think of LM Studio as a marketplace, right? Is that exactly what it is? No, but chances are you're already familiar with what other marketplaces are, and because we're using LM Studio as a marketplace to retrieve open source models, it's easy to transition our own understanding into that of a marketplace as well. So from there, let's jump back into the oil, right? So I want to let's talk through this, okay? This might not be a perfect take, and I might have to reshoot this video, but it is what it is. So imagine this is a spout of oil, right? I mean, it looks very clearly like that, and it's like a pressurized. I don't know if it's pressurized or not, but everybody I think can imagine the visual of oil shooting out of the ground, right? So let's see how this is similar to a large language model or an AI, Chat GTP. And what do we see when we interact with Chat GTP, right? There's a stream of conscious, right? Or, it's not truly conscious, but you're reading these words as they appear on your screen. Now, if you know what large language models truly are, you understand that it's not conscious, right? It's not alive. What it's doing is it's predicting, forecasting like the weather, what the next word is that's going to appear, right? And so it's trained on a large, humongous amount of information that give it that ability so that if you say hello, what's the most likely, based on its training, what is the most likely and what would be the most accurate way to respond to that text, right? And so again, think of this as like a method or I guess like a stage before that chat interface, right? Where you're able to talk to it. And so in order to then visualize that chat interface, let's imagine that we're going to put an oil derrick on top of our oil spout, right? And so it changes from, just truly stream of words, right? Without any input. Let's create that chat interface, right? So that's what we have here is we have that oil derrick, and it takes what was previously just incoherent text to coherence, right? It makes sense. We understand it, right? So we can put in a message, we can say hello, and it will probably say hello back depending on its training. So then let's take this one step further, right? So if you begin with a raw oil spout and then you put a derrick on top of it, right? Now you're pumping this chain of thought, this stream of text, right? Well, that's great. You can talk to it, but then they have a framework called, or a method, I guess, of usage for this large language model called like a reason and then act, right? So this is what gave rise to agency to AI. Well, we'll get into what those things mean in the following videos, but think of this as like, you know, once your oil has been extracted from the ground, right? We've got our text. We're going to ship it to a processing center, and we're going to be able to then, refine this messaging. We're going to be able to refine the language that it uses, and we're going to be able to provide it with tools so that it can then perform actions on our computer, right? So a term that we'll use in the future is a computer use agent, right? A CUA. So a computer use agent is actually able to interact with your computer, manipulate is not a good word, but that's common terminology in the field. It will allow it to interact with your file system, right? It can open files, it can read files. If you give it the ability, it can write files, right? It can write an entire program for you. It can access the internet, it can retrieve information, it can write a report, it can do all of these things. And all of them can be done with an open source models. And so to get it there, we're going to use a tool called LangFlow, right? That's going to be our refinery. And so just as a refinery, this refined product, for example, gasoline that you would put in your car, we're going to do something similar, right? Except instead of us driving a physical car, right, that might be at our home or in our garage or parked outside, we are going to provide an agent, an AI agent, a large language model agent, the ability to drive a car in a virtual environment, essentially. Okay. So, more on that to come, but I wanted to be careful, or I wanted to be sure to kind of walk through the concepts of what we're going to be doing, because I think it's very important to have a just, you don't have to understand everything perfectly, right? But you can translate it using something that you already understand. Or if you can do that, that's our goal. Okay. So again, thanks for coming to today's video. I know just a short one, but again, try to, or don't even try, just think in terms of things you already understand. Translate something new to an existing framework of your own understanding, and that will allow you to grow. It might even help you understand that framework even a little bit better, right? So both sides of the equation. So again, I know this video is more about theory behind large language models and what we're going to be doing with them. But I wanted to be sure to address this because I think it's truly critical uh, for you to understand it, right? Like, let's demystify it. Okay. So again, thanks for coming. We'll see you in the next one.